only do we have all these babies, but we have all these multiples. We have Wendy Bringhurst with 2 sets of twins. We have Lindsay with triplets, Kristen Jill Stevens with twins, Ileana with twins, Joe Bell with twins. What else am I forgetting? I think that's it. That's 5 sets of people with multiples. It's like ridiculous. And then you got, you know, the rest of the population. Matt having a baby, Ben Zollinger having a baby, Questa having a baby. Lance and Mickey had their baby. It's like, no wonder we had to buy onesies in, you know, bulk for you guys. So
don't drink the water.
If y'all could just get them. Yeah. I said that. Why do you think I said that in my office? I'm not stupid. I'm in the home stretch. The light is there, and I'm running as fast as I can. No, it's exciting, and if we could get them all licensed, that would be great for my numbers. I appreciate it. No, it is cool. It was really fun to get to spend time with you guys, just relaxing. And I mean, I was talking with somebody last night. I think it was Keith Facer or Christy from Stewart Title, and last year was last year did the picnic at Mirror Lake, and then the year before that, it just dumped rain and was so cold up at Amy Mackey Hornak's place. I just remember we were all like, everybody was trying so hard to have like a bold, positive attitude, and it was like, I remember out there was freezing. So, I mean, what a blessing. And if everybody could please hope for this weather to continue through October 31st when football season is over, I would appreciate it.
Yes, yes, I second.
That would be great. So, good stuff. I want to, if you are going to the Monica Reynolds class on Friday, not Saturday, as everybody super sad, on Friday, we did everything in our power to direct all of you from 40X to the right place, and we still had a couple people miss it. Here is a map of where the class is. This is also your information about lunch and times and everything you need to know. So if you're going to Monica Reynolds, we can either pass them around, or you guys can grab one on your way out, whichever you want, but make sure you guys have this. It is going to be a packed class. It's going to be full. It's going to be high energy and moving and learning fast, so really good stuff. We're excited about having her. Yes, sir?
Well, I was just going to ask you, how many people you anticipate?
Right now, we have 40 registered. I cannot put more than 48 in the class.
So if you haven't registered and you're going, you should probably have a conversation with this one right here. Yeah, for sure. Okay, what else? Training-wise, I'm curious. So let me just see a quick show of hands. Who in the room was at the 4 Disciplines of Execution class last week? About a week later, I just kind of wanted to touch base and see kind of what your ahas were, if you thought and processed through the material, if you have anything that you've sort of gone, man, I need to work on this. Talk to me a little bit about where your head is after taking that class.
One of the things that I got was that you can have lead measures for a lead measure. Because when you were talking about DIAT and the buyer agent, then it was to do, you know, whatever number of steps per week leading up to that. Because mine was 4 client events a year, but how do you do that on a weekly basis? So it's like 2 things every week to keep that moving forward. So you can have a lead measure for a lead measure, and that's what
well, it would be your weekly commitment.
Your weekly
yeah,
commitment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
your weekly commitment. Exactly. Excellent. That's good. What else?
I think it was really good for us to be able to say, just more defined, like what we were tracking, because like we're tracking conversations, and so what one person thought was a conversation was different than what another, and so just to get everybody on, you know, the same page.
Yeah.
And to be able to track that counts, that doesn't count, and that kind of stuff. And so just that, also they're tracking something now that is an activity and not an outcome.
Right. That's so
tracking
key.
Outcomes.
And it's really, really hard. I'll give you an example that I used, or an example that really got clear with me. So Reed Moore and I are holding each other accountable on this, while you may not see the results because it's taking forever with the tortoise, on trying to just drop some weight this year. So every day we have to text each other, and when we started, it was, and all the girls in the room are going to cringe when I say this, but when we started, it was a picture of the scale every day. He would have to send his to me, and I'd have to send him mine. And when I went through the certification process on,
That's a lot of trust.
That's, yeah, we could do some serious damage to me with that information. And if any of you go ask him for that, I will throat punch you. I'm just telling you. You are going to go. But as we as I went through the certification program for 4DX, I called him and I said, I think we're tracking the wrong thing. Because the truth is, once I step on the scale in the morning, can I control anything about that? That's a lag measure. Because it's already done and done. It's an outcome, like what Katrina just said. So I said, I'm not reporting you. I'm not trying to ditch, I'm not trying to get out of accountability.
That's just a perk.
It's just a side business. Well, we do, though, report the lag measure on Mondays. So every Monday, we still turn it in. But every day, it's a picture of my tracking, and I use Weight Watchers Mobile, there's MyFitnessPal, there's all these different apps to track calories. Because what can I control? What are the activities? The calories you put in and the calories you burn. That's controllable, that's a lead measure because it's a do. And it has direct impact on the outcome. I really can't control, you guys all know this, right? Have you ever stepped on the scale, you've done everything right, and maybe you're retaining more fluid, or who knows what, it fluctuates. Can I really control it? Not really, but I can control the activities that drive it, or not control them, because it's sometimes the option. But so I agree with you, really focusing on the activity as the lead measure, because if you do that, don't worry about the outcome.
Yeah.
If you're making your contacts and the right conversations, and that was really good, you drilled it down, what's a conversation? Is a conversation an email response to a registration on a website? Hi, I'm Jennifer at registered for information on the property at 123 Main Street, and I email them back, great, I'm so excited you're interested in this property, can I get you information? Is that a conversation?
No.
No, but we count it that way a lot of times.
Yeah, and that's what was really helpful, I think, as a team, because when I'm saying that you need to have this many conversations, I didn't realize that, but what I would think of a conversation with someone else, and everyone had a different definition. And so just to narrow that down and get everyone focused on the same thing, and that we can all track it, and it just levels the playing field.
Yeah.
So I think that was just really good for our team.
Well, and you probably just increased your conversion rates.
I hope so.
Because a conversation,
Right.
well, I mean, a conversation that is an email reply back to a registration is very different than, I have this is how I define a conversation. It's the way my father taught me how to speak to adults when I was 4 years old. Pretend you're holding a tennis ball in your hand, Jennifer. I throw it to Katrina, that's me talking to you. You throw it back to me, no, we throw it back and forth to each other. That's a conversation, right? It sounds really, really elementary, but if you use that idea in real estate, and let's just drill it down to 6-year-old level if we have to. That's one of my favorite lines from the movie Philadelphia, old movie, Denzel Washington. Explain it to me like I'm 6 years old. That's how we have to think about it, right? That conversation is going to have a much higher probability of getting a buyer's appointment than, thank you for registering on our site, boom, right?
Yeah.
So you guys probably just did significant impact on your conversion rate over the course of time that we'll see.
Yeah, I think it was huge though, I think for everybody that was, able to, oh, that's what we're doing.
Chris, you're on the team. What was that impactful for you to have that conversation?
What's that?
About
He was
oh, that's right, you were there, David was there. You were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you? I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
It was definitely, I would say very impacting because, like Katrina said, we all had a different definition of what that conversation was. And where we thought we were doing tons of them, we really weren't. Once we got that narrowed down, yeah, man, it's just, you come in, start at 8:30 and,
Yeah.
11:30, and it's like, whoop, did that, But at least you're making contact. So, yeah,
Real
love it.
contact. And now you guys are speaking the same language as a team.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So when your team member comes to you and says, but I made 100 contacts, 100 conversations this week and I got nothing, and you're going, well, I don't understand. Well, now we know. And isn't that interesting to take that a little bit further? There's an interesting dynamic about conversations here that I think, or about this, that goes even deeper. How many times are we all talking about the same thing and none of us are talking about the same thing? Right? I think about half the situations that come across Butch's desk, all the times where we get sideways with our sellers or our buyers,
Or your agent.
or another agent, or anybody, and we think we're talking about the same thing and we're not even in the same ballpark as each other. So how do you get past that? Because that can be a source of, that can lead to a deal falling apart. A conversation on 2 separate pages can cost you $9,000. That's an expensive conversation. So how do we clear that hurdle? There's a little phrase we use around here called stay in curiosity.
Ask a lot of questions.
And it's when you get to question asking, but it's more than just asking questions. It's a mindset of, I may not know everything that's happening here. I think a lot of times we see a situation develop in a transaction and we predetermine the outcome, we decide our position or our client's position, and we go defend that. And we go fight for our client. Now, is that good? Absolutely, great intentions, right? The other agent's coming at us with this information, and now we've become opposing forces. Now, sometimes that really is the case, and that's where it is, and that happens sometimes. I heard a story yesterday from Jet. She had to kind of bring out the 2x4, and that's where she was. But a lot of times, the challenge is that we're talking about 2 different things, and if we would get our mindset right to first of all say, okay, I'm going to seek first to understand, because maybe we're just on 2 different pages, but we're talking about the same thing, but we're not. And really ask questions and ask questions and ask questions and get out of our own way of right. We might find out that we can get resolution a lot quicker. Now, sometimes you don't, but I'm just saying, how many times have you and I had this conversation that we go, man, if we just talked about this last week, things will develop that have become massive problems. And of course, we hear one side of the story followed by a second side of the story. That's just, I mean, the course of events, that's normal. As one side comes in, what do you typically do? Formulate an opinion about what's happening. Instead of saying, okay, data received, understand, I've asked questions, makes sense, I'm not making a decision yet, I'm not forming an opinion, let me go see. Then you go to the other side, and you hear that, and all of a sudden you're going, okay, wow, the truth really is somewhere in the middle. Because there's some valid points here, there's some valid points here, and I think a lot of times in our deals, you know, you guys were all talking about conversations with clients, and you were all talking about it differently.
All different, yeah.
So that wasn't where I intended to go today, but it just kind of opened the door there, so great. Okay, back to 4DX, what else? What other ahas have you had?
I think for me, it's just the reminder of the energy boost that comes with a collective goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and things that might have felt like have-tos or daunting activities now are get-tos, are exciting.
Yeah.
And so it's really, it gives you a whole different perspective on these, what we look at as tasks that we have to do. And now, because it's part of a goal that this one team that we care about, not just the outcome, but we care about the members of the team too. So it allows that positive energy to come in instead of it being something that weighs you down about what you have to get done. It's energizing and it's uplifting. And it changes the whole feel.
If my mother had used that with me when I was growing up, my mom used to say, hey, I'm going to let you clean the bathroom today. Thank you. You're going to let me clean the bathroom today. But it's the same thing. Like, you have these tasks that are sometimes, it's work. And if that, you know, the idea of the wheels, remember the gears, and the weekly commitments, crank, which moves the lag measure, which gets you to the goal. So when you understand that those conversations that you guys, to use your team as an example since you were talking, those conversations have direct impact on turning the wheel, which turns the next wheel, which turns the big wheel. It really frees you up to be excited about things that can sometimes, I mean, the truth is, real estate's the most boring job you'll ever have if you're doing it right. Tony DeSello says, if you're not committed to making 30 phone calls a day, you need to get into another business. And that's his qualifying question for people when they came on his team. Very first question out of his mouth before any interview. Are you okay with making 30 phone calls a day for the rest of your natural career life? If the answer is no, the interview's over. We're done. If you do real estate right, it's the most boring job you'll ever do. So what gets you excited about the boring? It's seeing the cogs turn to the big goal. And then what that goal brings to you in terms of your life, right? You looked as though you had a thought. It's fun.
We're all
Exactly.
There's nothing to stop.
Yes, ma'am.
For me, one of the big things is the first, you made a statement, I know, we talked about accountability, it's important to do accountability, okay, yeah, accountability should do it. And I've kind of been doing the first three, the accountability not so great at. When you made the statement that the first three don't matter if you don't have the fourth one, that was big, having that accountability piece.
Yeah, I thought that, I got a lot out of that when I was learning the material as well, that having a goal is really important. Having the right lead measures is really important. Having a scoreboard is really important, and all of it's useless if you don't have the accountability. So like, why waste energy on the first three if you're not gonna do the fourth piece? Yes, sir.
I think
Mr.
just-
Bear.
I think just simplifying everything, I mean, that's what he kept pounding on, or he kept pounding on in the class, and I think that having a simple goal, I mean, we all know what we need to do and how we need to do it, but I think when we come back from family reunion, you have 25 goals, and then you should have 2 goals.
Sure.
Wildly important goals, and then I think that you walk into some people's offices and they have a whiteboard that you get dizzy at looking at, and you're like, my God, what is that? And so you simplify your tracking, and then your accountability should be amazingly simple, and I think
Yeah.
that we get too bogged into how many numbers to track and how much to track, and I think that class really kind of wraps in, keeping it simple is the most powerful way that you'll accomplish your wildly important goals.
It's amazing the power of simplicity.
Yeah.
And you start overthinking things and over-tracking things, how long are you actually going to track anything? If it's really, really, really hard, now hear me right, know your numbers, okay? This isn't a pass to not know your numbers. But no, I know. You got all excited there for just a second, I saw that. But at the end of the day, when you dwindle it down, we want to be as dialed in as possible to a simplistic goal. We tend to just overthink things in our brain, and really get past it. One of the things that's interesting, I was on a call yesterday, there's a chair right there. I was in a call yesterday for our region, and we were talking about some systems. And systems is such a buzzword, and I love the word systems, don't get me wrong, like I absolutely love it, but it is our buzzword, and it feels like when people are talking about their real estate business and they don't know what else to say, they just drop the word system in somewhere a couple times a sentence and you're good to go, So we were talking about systems, and my aha from this conversation, and 4DX is a system, right? It's another system. It's like the 4-1, it's just a repackage. I mean, I believe in it greatly. I'm not trying to downsell it, but the truth is, it's another system. Now, I personally don't care what system you use, just use one that works for you, right? It's kind of like Gary Keller in the contact management system. What does he say? What's the best contact management system that there is? If that's an index card box with index cards in it, great. I don't care. Just use it. But here's what's interesting. I was listening to this call, and we were talking about a process and a system. And as I kept listening to the questions that were brought up, it's the same, these are team leaders having this conversation, but it's the same conversation you have in your business. It's just about a different topic. Everyone is looking for the system to be the fix. Well, what system do you use? Well, what system do you use? Well, mine's not working. What system do you use? Like, they're going to get a system, and it's going to be the magic fix that just takes care of everything in their business. And my take on it during that conversation was, guys, you're asking the wrong question. The question is not what system do you use. The question is who's running your system. Because really, we had a great system for some different things in the market center that we purchased. When did we get the Calvin system? Over a year, at least a year. I was going to say a year and a half. I didn't want to, I don't know if I was exaggerating. And it sat there. Now, did that system do anything for us? Sitting on a computer, desktop, not being touched. Now, that system didn't come to life and become really effective until Janine started using it. So what was the key? Was it the system or was it the who?
The who.
Right, exactly. Now, I believe in systems. And I think the big question is who's running the system? And that's where the talent conversation comes in. You have to have talent around you to run your systems. Then you can tweak and you can improve on your systems. And when you have talent, guess what they do? They make your systems better because they see the inefficiencies or they see where it can get. So the 4DX is great, but sitting on your desk on a book or in your brain, or on a PowerPoint on your screen, or handout sitting on your, it's not gonna change anything in your business. It's you being the who, grabbing it and running with it. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if that, sometimes my mind of logic makes sense only in my special world, so, wanted to make sure. Okay, any other thoughts on 4DX?
I think it was a really great mid-year kind of get the energy back from the business planning clinic and the 411 and all the stuff that we do in December, January. It was really nice to have that kind of, because it's basically all the sort of stuff that we talked about then, repackaged and brought it to us in the middle of the year where we're going, oh yeah.
Right, exactly. Good. Well, I'm glad you guys got something out of it. Okay, so profit sharing just went out. So we're gonna run through those numbers real quick, and then we're gonna dive into the actual teaching piece of today. So, Abigail Owens in New York. What? No? Wrong?
Yes, no, actually, they're not in order.
No, they're not.
Do you
That's
remember your own
okay.
third
I'm not
one?
worried about it.